Hey there, everybody. It is Kristen coming to you today with the amazing Jordan. I'm so happy to have her with us to share such a beautiful story in 2020. Let me check in just real quick here to make sure that we are live and rolling. All right, we look good. So guys, if you watch this later, go ahead and comment hashtag replay. So Jordan, welcome. Can you tell everybody just a little bit about you and your venue, and we'll get ready to rock here?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Jordan Coyne. I own a venue in Springfield, Ohio called Cliffside Acres. This is our first year. We just wrapped up our first season on Monday. We totaled 13 weddings. We booked starting first week of December in 2019. We were supposed to have 19, but 6 of those moved to next year due to COVID and some unforeseen things. Yeah, we're just really excited to have our first year in the books and looking forward to what comes next for us.
That is awesome. So, okay, let's go behind the scenes here and let everybody just get a peek into your story. What was it that inspired you to get into this business?
Oh, goodness. So it's kind of a long and twisty story, but I will try to make it short. I always tell people that for us, it wasn't about opening a wedding venue. It was about people. And a wedding venue was just the path that led us to serving people. So I did 5 years at Ohio State. I graduated with an agriculture communications degree. I've always been really passionate about people, did a lot of hospitality type things. I just wanted to work one-on-one with individuals and share their story and that sort of thing. I didn't want to work in agriculture anymore. Simultaneously, I inherited about 25 acres of property from my grandmother. My husband and I were living in, actually, my boyfriend at the time, we weren't even engaged yet. We were living in Columbus. He grew up in every big city in the US and always wanted to live in a house that had creaky stairs and on property. I happened to have that, but thought I was going to stay in the city forever. So I told him that if we moved, I wanted to start a business that would honor my grandmother's legacy. So she would always let people come and take senior pictures here. We would have a big annual fundraiser party. We would kind of use it as like a loose Airbnb if you knew us as a family member. So it was just a property that we shared with a lot of people. And it kind of allowed me to continue on my grandmother's dream and use a skill set that I had.
I love it. So when did you guys originally start putting a pen to paper? Like when did the process start?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to think back a little bit. I would say early 2018, I had started doing a lot of research on my end of how we were gonna do this, what all goes into this, what are we looking at cost-wise. It took about 6 months for me to like kind of get my husband on board. My dad actually later on came on as my general contractor. So he has a background in engineering and is semi-retired. So he wanted to help me with the project, which was super fun and saved me a lot of money. And so right about summer 2018, we had really started looking at permitting, zoning. We went and met with our chief building official. I highly recommend that being your first step if you are in a situation where you're going to rezone your property. We were fortunate that we went in and told them what we wanted to do, and they were over the moon about it. So they kind of held our hand through the process and made it possible for us to get it done and get it done in a timely manner. So right about the end of 2018, we had gone through all of the rezoning process. We'd applied for our variances, that sort of thing. Heading into January 2019, we were really getting the ball rolling. So we were going to lumber yards. We were going to look at building packages. We were getting our plan together. And we broke ground April of 2019. I don't know if you guys remember, at least in the Midwest, we got about 4 months of rain. So even though we broke ground in April, we didn't start construction until July. My husband and I actually got married at the end of September. We were about 2.5 months into construction at the venue. And then we really finished construction like May of this year, and our first wedding was in July.
Wow, that's awesome. So where in that process, where were you when we first met? Do you remember?
We were about 50% done with construction. We had just launched our social media accounts, really did not have a back end of the business at all. I think we were loosely using Honeybook just to like keep track of our leads and send contracts and things like that. But we didn't have a website. We had a business plan, but we didn't have like a marketing plan or any of the deeper levels of that.
Awesome. And guys, if you are joining here live, go ahead and comment #live. If you have a question for Jordan and we have time to squeeze it in, comment those or put those in the comments as well. So, okay, so you were partially built, and were you in this group? Is that how we first met the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what was it that made you say like, okay, I want to reach out to Kristen and team? What was the catalyst for that for you?
So at that time, we were in construction. I mentioned that I got married kind of in the middle of construction. We were burnt out. We built it all of ourselves. So we were working like 18-hour days ahead of my wedding to just get as much done as we could. So after that, I was physically and mentally burnt out. So we took a couple months off. And I knew that if I was going to do this ahead of getting my business open, that this was my window. So I reached out to Kristen and it was like, I'm physically burnt out, but mentally I'm ready to go. And I need help putting the walls around my business in a figurative sense.
Yeah, it's amazing. I talk to so many new venue owners who very much find themselves like caught up in the build. It's fun to make those decisions. It's exhausting to do the work, right? But it's so easy to be caught up in the build that I just want to honor you for saying, like, I need to poke my head up here and say, okay, I need to be working on building the business alongside building the building. So you didn't get to that place where the build was completely done and then look around and say, whoa, I should have started this months ago. So I want to celebrate you for that. Absolutely. So, tell us just kind of characterize 2020. I mean, opening a business in 2020, there's been a lot of challenges. Like, tell us what this year's been like for you.
Oh, this year has been a lot, as I'm sure it is for all of you that are watching. It's been challenging. I think in some ways we're lucky that we never knew anything else. So it's both a positive and a negative. I tell my husband, if we can make it through this year, we can make it through anything. Early into shutdown, we're in Ohio, like I mentioned. I was a mess. I started going to therapy. I started just doing anything I could to keep myself calm and level-headed, because giving up or quitting was never an option for us. I had to find a way to move forward. And even if the world was crazy around me, I couldn't let myself spin out. But it was hard, right? Because we built a business that relied on people gathering in the middle of a pandemic. Who does that? But for the most part, we just closed our 2020 season on Monday, and I feel so good about the season that we left behind. We got smarter every single wedding. And we just learned so much along the way. And I think the biggest piece that we learned in 2020 was the people piece, the customer service piece. Masks are controversial, right? Regardless of what your opinion is on masks, in Ohio, we do have a mask mandate. We did have to require people to wear them in order to keep our doors open. And learning how to articulate that and require that of our couples and our guests, and to do so in a way that expressed empathy, was something that we definitely got a lot better at as we went through the season.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look forward. Tell us about where your business is going. What does 2021 look like? What are you most excited about? Let's talk about the future.
Well, I'm really excited because hopefully next year we don't have to wear masks. I don't know if that will be true or negative or whatever. But I am looking forward to either a season where we've adjusted to this new normal, or we are at least going maybe back towards our old normal. Just really consistency in any form is what I'm looking forward to in my business, whether that's next year or the year after. What was the second part of your question?
Yeah, just what are you excited about, and what does the business look like in 2021? What are you preparing for?
This year, we did 13 weddings. 6 of them moved to next year, like I mentioned earlier. We have 33 on the books for next year as we head into kind of busy booking season. So we have definitely doubled our booking rate so far in a little under a year. We just hit 250,000 in sales in 11 months. So for a small business, that was more than we had expected to do this year. And even in a pandemic, we're feeling very grateful for what that looks like for us.
Congratulations. It's so fun to get to come on here and celebrate you guys, celebrate, finding the wins in 2020, and there's no doubt that you've done it. And the peace and the joy that you have about you, like to come from a place of like, we're burnt out from the build to, gosh, I'm excited for what the future is going to bring. It's just something that I'm super proud of you for, Jordan. So what would you say to someone who has been hanging out, watching in the group, or maybe following me on social media, et cetera? What would you say to someone who's kind of watching from the wings?
I would say don't wait. I mean, you're never going to get today back. You're never going to get this month back. You're never going to get this year back. So the longer you wait, the more you're missing out on structuring a business that not only serves your couples, but serves you well. And you're missing out on your ideal client and new bookings. And those are all things that we expanded with Kristen's help. And so what's the excuse? Especially if we're going into off season, if you already own a wedding venue, you're never going to have more time than you have right now. And I would take advantage of that.
Absolutely. So you have an audience here of venue owners. Is there anything that you would share, that just advice or a lesson learned, anything just with the group that we've got here listening?
You're not going to know it all, and that's okay. I think I'm very type A. I'm a perfectionist. I want everything to go perfectly all the time. And I was just telling Kristen, on Monday was our last wedding of the season. I felt like we had finally hit our stride, and then we had a septic issue. And so I think just the understanding, the reminder, the willingness to remember that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and it's okay that you don't know everything right now. I get smarter every wedding, and I hope that you get smarter every wedding too. I hope that we all do as an industry, because we're learning together, and the world is changing and evolving. 2020 is a really great example of that. So don't be afraid of what you don't know.
Absolutely. It's interesting. Hundreds of weddings in, we still learn things. We don't learn things quite to the same degree that we did early on. And that's why I'm so blessed and so grateful to get to share with others. It's like there's so many smart business owners. You're one of many who I've been blessed to work with, right? And so, but to not have to learn all those things on your own, to have a shortcut, to have that shorter path, and to get to learn from my mistakes, because guys, I've made them too. And we've had a lot of interesting, funny stories that I could probably go live. Maybe I'll do that one day. Tell some funny stories of what you get to experience.
I felt like with your help, we were really able to kind of hit the ground running, especially as someone that did not yet have a wedding venue business. We were able to kind of step in already at a pretty high level of knowledge and awareness. And we were able to kind of let our market know that we were here and we were ready for what the season would hold.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, Jordan. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, I'll be bringing you some more venue owner spotlights of people who I just love and appreciate, and I'm super glad are a part of this community. If you are here live, go ahead and comment #live. If you watch this later, #replay. Just a reminder to connect with my team. It's kristenbinford.com/accelerator. There's also lots of other resources and tools at kristenbinford.com. So thank you guys for joining us here live. Thank you, Jordan, and have an awesome rest of your day, guys. Bye.